In today's topic, we will be discussing Roman architecture, and this is me, Abraham Safieddine. What is the topic of your paper, and what is the time period? So the topic of my paper will be about ancient Rome architecture, and the time period is roughly between 484 BCE to 650 CE. During this time period, the world starts to improve and shift, and we notice over time the catastrophic destructions over land. War started to become a common thing, and over time the only thing that truly lasts to this day is architecture. Some architecture have been destroyed, but some have stood until this day. So, to begin, I will be discussing the Roman timeline. I'll show you the exact Roman timeline that will help you gain an understanding of what architecture looked like. So starting off in 484 BCE, the first temple of Castor and Pollux is dedicated in Roman by Postumus following his victory over the Latins at the Battle of Lake Regillus. So the Seven Hills is in 380 BCE, and rebuilding of Rome's strong walls around the Seven Hills. Rome was founded the original city of the Palatine Hill. On April 21st, 753 BC, the city was founded, and pretty much what I'm trying to say here is the architecture about this map is the walls that were built around the Seven Hills. And the Seven Hills were pretty much a group of tribes. They rebuilt it to make it stand against enemies. What I mean by that is the walls. Via P was a road that was a famous road that was built in 321 BCE. It was a strategic road. It was one of the most important roads built in the Roman Republic, as it helped in trade. Aqua P was the Roman first aqueduct constructed, and it was 16 kilometers long. It was constructed by Venus and Claudius in 312 BCE. Jupiter's Stator. So this was built in 146 BCE, and it was the first Roman all marble building that was constructed. And keep in mind that marble back then was pretty expensive. For you to build marble today, it is still expensive. So this is one of the most significant buildings that the Romans built at an early age, as it was made out of marble. So it was founded by King Romulus after the pledge to build it during a battle between the Roman army and that of the Sabians. So this is a second aqueduct, and it was built in 144 BCE, and then it was finished by 140 BCE. It took them 4 years to build this thing, and it was 91 kilometers long. So that makes sense why it took them 4 years to build it. It was regarded as one of the four greatest aqueducts of Rome. The amphitheater of Pompeii. Okay, so this is very well known, and it was built in 75 BCE. It was built by stone, but before that it was built by completely wood. A lot of gladiator fights happen in this amphitheater, and as we know about gladiator fights, the reason why they do that is because they show the military that they have no weakness whatsoever, and it was something to distract the people from what was going on back then. So the Pyramid Stone Theater was built in 55 BCE, and it was Pompey the Great builds the first stone theater in Rome. It was an expensive garden complex of fountain and statues. Inside of it was expensive art that Pompey collected. So inside this thing, this is a roughly picture that shows you what it kind of looked like. And from the inside, as I said, there's just a bunch of stones that are a bunch of statues that were expensive, a lot of art they started collecting in this period. To go on, Forum of Caesar was built between 54 BCE until 29 BCE, and Forum of Caesar, constructed in Rome by Julius Caesar, is as another area to conduct judicial business. It is the best surviving of his monuments. So the northeast section of the Forum, of which he purchased a very expensive select amount of parcels of land in that area. So that's where he built it. He purchased a lot of lands in that area, and he started building. His monuments, and this is where he conducted his judicial business. So I mean, it was dedicated towards Caesar's deeds. So that's what I have on this topic. And then so the Pantheon, it was constructed in 27 BCE. It was the first Pantheon built in Rome, and it's dedicated by Marcus. Historians claim that Emperor Augustus' right hand, Agrippa, built the first Pantheon in 27 BC. The interesting thing about this thing is that, as you can see, it still exists to this day, and it's very old. But a very interesting thing about it is that it used to be a temple, and now it's a church. As we can see, the shift of religion happen in there. So Martis baths. So these were in 20 BCE. The Campus Martis bath in Rome are constructed and donated to the people by Agrippa. Public owned area in ancient Rome. Most populated are in. So this was kind of like, as you can see from this picture, it looks like kind of like a college campus. It more looks like just a city, but this was a huge city, and it was the most populated in Rome. As I said, this is pretty similar to big colleges, but bigger. It kind of looks like Boulder. So between 19 BCE to 100 CE, there's a few important constructions here, and notice that through me going through the slides, I will condense these into shorter. So I guess it's a faster presentation and more efficient. So in 19 BCE, Arch of Augustus built in Rome to commemorate victory over the Parthians. In 13 BCE, official inauguration of the Theater of Marcellus in Rome. 2 BCE, Augustus inaugurates the Temple of Mars altar in Rome to commemorate his victory at the Battle of Philippi in 42 BCE. And then through 1 CE to 100 CE, the construction of the Temple of Jupiter by the Romans at Baalbek. So Baalbek is in Lebanon. Today's in Lebanon. So between 50 CE to 72 CE, 50 CE was the largest Roman aqueduct, 49 miles high, completed at the Pont du Gard. And an aqueduct is basically, as we can notice, there's actually a lot of aqueducts that Romans did. Yes, it's to serve the water, help the Romans get the water. And then in 65 CE, the Circus Maximus in Rome is rebuilt, and its capacity increased to 250,000 people. 65 CE, the Baths of Nero are built in Rome. 72 CE, Vespasian begins construction of the Colosseum in Rome. Between 80 CE to 81 CE, in 80 CE, the Colosseum in Rome is officially opened by Titus with 100-day gladiators. Spectacular. 81 CE to 96 CE, construction is finally completed on the Colosseum of Rome, and the regain of Domitian. Yes. So in 81 CE, Ark of Titus built in Rome to commemorate the conquest of Jerusalem. And then between 110 CE to 138 CE, the Baths of Trajan in Rome are completed. Trajan Column is constructed in Rome. 117 CE to 138 CE, rule of the Roman Emperor Hadrian, who supports great building projects and is around and is around the Agora of Athens. Between